Hi, it's David Shummy, and I wanted to talk to you today about how you can accelerate your customer journey. So I like to think of the structure of business is that we've got this funnel shape, and at the top we've got cold traffic, in the middle warm traffic, and at the bottom our hottest traffic. So when we go out to the market online, or even if we're marketing offline, the coldest traffic are unaware of us, unaware that they've even got a problem. Now what happens is eventually they have a problem, they become problem aware, or we help identify the problems for them and make them aware that they might have a problem through marketing. So then they become problem aware. Gradually, as they move through your funnel, they become solution aware, they're aware of something there to help them. Then hopefully they become product aware, or they become aware of you. And then at the bottom, they're fully aware, they've purchased from you, they've become a customer. And the object of our presentation today is to help you move people from cold to warm to hot people, and from unaware to fully aware. And so let's have a look at how we're going to do that. I've got three things that I really want to talk about that are going to help you speed up your customer journey. The first is intent-based search optimization, and this is something that we're going to do with your website and have a look at how we can do things online. The second thing is something I call lighting the path. We'll dive into that a bit later. And then leveraging conversational selling, because talking to one another, that is one way to move things along quite quickly. So first up, let's have a look at intent-based search optimization. Now, what do I mean by intent-based search optimization? Well, look, I've got a customer here, and this customer of mine wants to learn how to frame pictures because they've bought a new home and their walls are bare. So what we get in that conversation right there is we get both the intent and the context of what they're searching for. And in this example, I want to learn how to frame pictures because I've bought a new home and my walls are bare. The learn to frame pictures is the intent, and the bought a new home and my walls are bare is the context. Now what this person would do, or what any customer does now, is search online. And so they could be looking, say on, and this is a problem that all businesses face, is that people are searching not just on one device. They're searching on multiple devices across multiple different channels. So in this example here, we might have someone searching on a tablet, on Pinterest for a particular product. They might go looking for it, they're trying to find that solution, and this is something all people that have this intent and context in mind, they'll keep searching until that need is met, until it's satisfied. So if they don't find what they're first of all looking on, they might not find it in Pinterest, but they might then a couple of days later, a week later, or even on the same day, look, say, in YouTube, and in that example they'd be using, say, a desktop. Now it doesn't matter what you use here, but you have to understand that customers are using different devices and looking in different places. And so then they might be looking in their desktop at YouTube, and then maybe a few days later they could be on their mobile device looking on Google Maps to try and find a business. So how do you target these people when they're using so many different platforms and so many different devices? Anyway, the old business model was that we were constrained by what fitted within the four walls of our business. Well, nowadays, business has unlimited space. We're able to put a whole heap of content out there. We're not just constrained by the physical products that we have to keep within our business. So this is a concept I want you to understand, that you've got this huge abundance that's been brought about by the internet, and you're able to leverage this to make the most out of your business. So the only thing you really need when you're competing for a search term on the internet is a digital asset that a prospect can find. So unlike having to have something in a store and advertise and have them come to your store, all you really need to do is have something out there, a content asset that you've created that the customer finds, and then they follow that scent back to your shop or back into your business, into your website. Now, Here's a quick graph here of the search demand curve. This is something that SEO Moz brought out to show or to explain the search terms that are searched for inside the major search engines. And so if we were thinking of something like Google here, the top 100 keywords only make up about 9% or something of the total searches. And you can see there, even the top 10,000 keywords are only 18.5% of the searches. Now this is important because when we look down and we see the long tail, and the long tail makes up 70% of internet searches, that is a huge amount of traffic. And in fact, what we're going to talk about further is how we target the long tail, because as you move towards a long tail, it becomes less there's less competition and it's easier to attract those customers. So another interesting fact is, according to Google, 16%, so that's 1 in 6 searches on Google, have never been entered into Google before. So 1 in 6 have never been entered before. Now that's a whole goldmine of opportunity for you to add content to meet those 1 in 6 searches. Now, in this example, I want to learn to frame pictures because I bought a new home and my walls are bare. This is someone who might be searching and they'd be considered cold traffic. They haven't got anything in mind. They just know that they want to frame some pictures because they've got bare walls. Now, this second customer here wants to choose the right frame for their pictures because they want their home to look modern. Now, these have a higher level of intent and are a warmer type of customer. And the warmest type of customer is someone who states that they want to buy a silver frame because they want their home to look refined and modern. So in this example, they're very close to the buying point. Now, when someone's close to the buying point, they're using words like compare and buy and reviews and things like that. But we'll look at that a little bit more in a minute. So let's have a look at how we apply that to intent-based search optimization. So here's a customer here, what it is, the same customer could be at each of those stages. So they could be wanting to learn, they could be wanting to choose the right frame, and they could also be wanting to buy a silver frame as we help them ascend through the relationship with our business. And in this example here, I've pulled out what I think are the keywords. So learn to frame pictures, picture frame designs, and buy silver picture frame. And on the bottom there, I've just got a keyword planner, set something up in Excel, and that's where you can see that I'm trying to create some content to match the keywords. And we'll talk a little bit more about how this content works in a moment. So at the top of the funnel, those things where they're cold and we're just trying to make them aware, we might come up with a product, say learn how to frame pictures, or that might be our keyword search, or decorate a new home with art. Now, when they move through the funnel, there we've got one guide to choosing the right frame for your pictures. Or when it comes down to buying, we might have product detail pages, an online quoting system, and some comparison component where people can compare things. This is why businesses like, say, Compare the Market or iSelect do so well, because they're targeting the comparison market, which are very hot customers. I'm not going to go and compare health insurance if I'm not going to buy it. So someone who's entering their system is actually very close to buying, and so they're very hot customers. So you've got to think about these things. Now, as we move on, when you've got keywords, you can modify them according to where they are in the funnel. So for example, something to do with picture framing, we could have picture framing plus the word news. So picture framing news is a very cold term, or picture framing tips, or list of 100 picture frames. They're all cold things, but we've got modifiers there that we can use to add to the same word. So buy picture frame is a hot term. Purchase picture frame, compare picture frames, those are hot terms. So think about what you can use as modifiers, and you identify your keywords from the context that the customers are searching for. So they've got their intent and their context. Use that to develop your keywords. Now, the next thing to do is to create content around those keywords. So in this example, here's our our same customer, but at 3 stages of their journey. And in the cold stage, we've got here the asset that I made for the person wanting to learn was watch free video training. So we made a little series of video training to help them get started. The second option here was the person wants to make the right choice of picture frame. So we created a resource which was how to choose the right frame for your pictures. Now that's a downloadable PDF and a printed brochure. And then at the hot end of the funnel, what we've got is our product detail page. So you can see here I've got a silver frame with a price. They can put their size in, they can actually buy. So 3 pieces of content to match. And what you need to think about is creating an ascension path so that when someone comes in and they're cold, they want to learn about it, then you move them up to a warm stage, eventually to a hot stage, and then they become a customer. So the next thing, after you've created your content, you need to think about the channels that you're going to put that on. And your channels can include YouTube, TripAdvisor, Facebook, Google My Business, Instagram, your website, and many others. Now, a really useful resource for you if you want to learn where your customers are looking, and this is very important, you should make customer avatars. And these are where your customers hang out, what they're like. Imagine a perfect customer, note down all the things about it. You can look up how to create a customer persona, customer avatar. When you've got that, you can work out where they are. Now, there's a great tool you can use, which is called the Conversation Prism. You can get that at conversationprism.com, and it shows all the different social channels, so you can see where people are hanging out. Won't spend too much time on this, but later on I'll give you a link where you can download my slides, so you'll be able to get these links and look them up, because they're very useful for targeting your specific customer for your market. Now, after you've made your content and you put it online, you then need to optimize. Now, you need to optimize how you get traffic to it, and you also need to optimize the content over time. So one of the important things is to keep it fresh and updated. And what I mean by that is, you might make a great piece of content, but the internet is aging and your content is aging on the internet. Now, Google and the other search engines like freshness. So, if they were looking at sports scores for this week, no one wants to know what the scores were last week, because they're looking for who won the game this week. So Google's always trying to deliver fresh content to its viewers, because they are a revenue-driven business. They want people to be satisfied with Google and actually stay longer on sites that are supporting them and clicking on their ads and things like that. So when you've got a good piece of content, what you can do is you can add to it. You don't have to do something and then say that's it. What you do, if say you've written a blog article, you can get that down, edit it. Don't edit the URL. That's the one thing you wouldn't edit, but you could edit the title. You could add more to those keywords. If you looked at the traffic that was coming in, if you looked at some of the questions and surveys that you might have done with your customers, you could adapt that content and republish it. Now, the key is, once you've republished it, send it a bit of love. So this is an example here from one that I did for my picture framing business, which is about a needlework design survey. And this was leading into an article about needlework framing, and I was targeting people that did needlework. So I just asked them this or that, and I took them to a survey and then took them to some content, and so boosted it. Now, what happens after you've done that, you need to have a pathway to take the customer to the next level in the process. So to take them down to this ascension path. And how do we do that? Well, in the example of the needlework, the ascension path from that post was to end up hopefully getting them to buy this DVD, which was about needlework framing techniques. Now, this served two purposes, because I either would sell someone the needlework framing techniques DVD, and I can sell that to them worldwide, or if they were local to me, they would come in and trust me because I'm now the authority at framing needleworks. And I'd taken them through this journey of me building my authority and also showing them I'm an authority by publishing content. So this was the first step of the ascension path, but it doesn't end there. What this was actually part of was part of a sequence. So after they would buy the DVD, we'd offer them an advanced cutting course, which was a higher level training, and then something called the Framers Club. And the Framers Club is my monthly membership, and it's one of my core products. So I have people in paying me every month, and I offered them there to become a member. And then if they didn't buy that, I then gave them a free trial, which is the downsell. So you need to think about how you're going to move people through the process. So that's basically it, guys, on the intent based search optimization. You've got the sequences there. You'll be able to download the slides later on, have a bit of a look at it, and if you need to talk to me more about it, I'll give you my contact details later. So anyway, the next thing we're going to look at is something that I like to call lighting the path. And people might have different terms for this, but I think about it as we've got to produce the right pathway for both humans and robots. Because what happens is Google's a robot. They go out and they follow the route that you take them through your content. And if you take them from one step to the next in a logical method and they don't end up getting lost, they're going to rank your content higher. And likewise, with a human, you want them to have a great user experience. And so there are many ways of improving this, but one of the simplest things is to use things like the free tools that Google provides you. Use Google Webmaster tools so you can look at, say, security issues there or crawl errors. You can also submit your sitemap and see how many of your pages are getting indexed and things like that. Or if you're diving into Google Analytics, you can actually have a look at what people are looking at, how they're flowing through your website. Make sure there is a clear pathway. Make sure that your website doesn't look like this. You don't want to have roadworks, you don't want to have speed bumps and things that are going to block people. And when someone's going down a pathway to find something, let's say they've looked at that and they're wanting to learn framing, or they're wanting to do something and they're moving to the next level and they're moving to the next level, and then they end up and they hit this, they hit a dead end. Well, you lose them at that point and then they go off somewhere else. So the whole purpose of building content and creating an ascension path translates here into also taking them on a pathway where the content links and everything works as a holistic solution. So you need to think about that when you're working on your websites. The other thing that's really important is speed. So here we've got a speed score from one of my analytics inside my phone board's website, and here my speed rating there, 83, when it says Google has the top ranking websites in Google have an average score of 80.78 and yours is 83. So you want to make sure things are quick. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the methods to do it. You need help with that, but certainly users prefer fast over slow. No one wants a slow website. They just leave. Nowadays, people expect something quick. And this is the other problem that we face with people purchasing quickly, is that they want to buy something quickly. They make quicker decisions, or they might take their time with making a decision, but once they've made it, they want to buy. They don't want to hang around. And this is the other thing that I'm going to talk to you about today. And that is, we're going to talk about, because this also relates to speed, we're also going to talk about leveraging conversational selling. Now, what do I mean by leveraging conversational selling? Well, if we look at the traditional business models of B2B and B2C, one is the business selling to another business, one is business selling to consumers. Now, this is the attitude that people would have. But really, in all of these examples, it's P2P, person to person. You've got to have one person selling to another person. That's all it is. We don't need to have all these complex things of, hey, we're going to sell to this big business, we're going to sell to this. All we need to do is talk to one person. And so that involves building a conversation. Now, there are ways of building conversations. You know, if in the old days, someone would come into your store, you'd sit down, you'd chat with them, or you'd chat with them on the phone. Now, what has happened is people still do call, people still do come to the store, people still do go out and shop, but they were also intrigued or interested in email when it first came out. but email is surprisingly slow. I mean, how many of you are guilty of not answering your emails within, say, half an hour or an hour? How many are guilty of not answering within 24 hours or 12 hours? I know in my business it's difficult. When we're busy doing lots of things, email can sometimes take a back seat. So we use things like, we use a program called Active Campaign, and that sends automated emails, and it also tags people, looks at them, where they are in the website, what they're doing, and so we can see how active they are, and we maintain a conversational tone with them through email. But email in many cases is not fast enough for most of the people. What people want is to be able to make a decision now. Now, text messaging is great, and you can do text messaging because that's quick. People usually have read a text message within 15 minutes. Now, it's usually quicker than that because their phone goes ping and they look at it. But obviously not everybody can pull their phone out and look at that message straight away. But about 15 minutes, and most people have read a text message. Now, what we're using, and what we tried before but we're using in a big way now, is live chat. And so we're using Zendesk. We use Zendesk support, and as part of that is Zendesk chat. And this is where we put something on our website, and what it does, we're able to get data out of it. And this is really vital. Like, we've used live chat before, where we've gone and we've outsourced the live chat to another company, and they charged us per lead. But what the object of that company was, of course, was to get the person's contact information. So they weren't really delivering a better user experience because the person wasn't getting their questions answered, because it was just a call center that was dealing with trying to get people to hand over their contact information. So when you actually instigate live chat in your business, it's like when phones first came out. People want to use it. So chat and chatbots, we've tried chatbots, robotic chatbots, and we haven't found those as successful as putting a real salesperson on a live chat system. And what you'll find is people will communicate with you. You can prompt them, and you get useful data. Like here, we've got a customer that's come to the website 3 times, and they've spent 8 minutes looking at a product. They're looking at AO foam board, and they're going to buy it. They actually do buy it, and they check out. But in many cases, these bits of data can show you how interested the person is. Like, the longer they've spent, the more likely they are to buy. So if you can see someone spending 8 to 10 minutes on your website, they're highly interested. So you tag them with this highly interested tag. And you can always send them information then about that AO phone board. If they've entered their contact information, you can get in touch with them afterwards, or at least you can instigate a follow-up campaign. Now, what it looks like from the front end is this little thing. We interrupt people. We don't just sit there passively and say, oh, they can click it and start a chat, but most of the time we will actually instigate the chat by saying, hey, welcome, here you are on the site. Or if they've looked at something for, say, 4 minutes, I think it is now. If they've looked at something for 4 minutes, we know they're interested, so we pop up and we say, hey, you're looking at something there, can we help you? And then usually what will happen is something like this person here, Alicia. Hey, I'm looking for some large visual project management boards I can use for business planning. And then I've written back to her, hey Alicia, you can find out the details about our Kanban boards here, and give them a link. Now that's a very simplified example. Usually these chats go on for a lot longer. But when you put your best salespeople into a chat system with people who are the hottest prospects because they've actually come to your site, they're looking at the product, and they've reacted to the conversation, those people, they're hot to buy. If you wait for them, or if they email you or contact you or submit a quote form, the clock is already running. So I'd really encourage you to speed up that customer journey, build out your content, and this also links back to content, because if you've got the right content, you'll drive them to your site, they'll follow the pathways, they'll hit your chat system, and you'll convert them into customers. So that's all I've got time for you here today. And I really just wanted to thank you for listening to what I've got to say about this process. If you'd like to download my slides, you'll be able to pick them up at slideshare.net/David Shummy. Go and grab the slides there, and inside you'll get a few of the other links. You can look in the description on SlideShare. I'll post some of the links in there so that you're able to follow those links to get some of those resources. And then if you're really interested, hop on over. I record this and I will give you the audio copy and the video copy of this slideshow presentation so that you can analyze it. And then I've got a few other bonus little bits and pieces, but hop in, grab the slideshow. I'll pop the other links in there. And look, if you've got any questions, I'll be hanging around after the presentation, and I'd love to take questions from the audience.